Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really critical. Sits right at that intersection of tech, global movement, and, well, personal ambition. The H-1B visa in 2025.
That's right.
If you're a skilled professional thinking about a move, maybe a hiring manager trying to find talent, or honestly, just anyone needing a quick grasp on this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, for decades, the H-1B was basically opportunity itself. It was the path to the American dream for skilled workers globally. But things are shifting really fundamentally in U.S. policy and, frankly, with global competition heating up.
Right.
So we have to ask, is it still that golden ticket? Does it justify the, frankly, enormous effort? Or has the system itself become more of a roadblock?
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We'll break down the recent changes, weigh those huge benefits against the tough realities, and look at how other countries are competing for talent. By the end, you should have a really clear picture of the H-1B landscape right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the big stuff. What are the key structural changes? What really shifted in 2025 for the U.S. immigration system regarding this visa?
Well, the main thing everyone's talking about is this big tech overhaul. The registration, the selection, it's now fully AI assisted.
AI assisted. Okay.
And this isn't just a small update. The AI is specifically trained to spot things like multiple applications from relating companies trying to game the system.
Trying to increase their odds unnaturally.
Exactly. And it's also designed to prioritize what it sees as, let's say, genuine, high-value talent submissions.
That sounds like something that was needed given the fraud issues and just the sheer number of people applying. But let's be real. Is the AI fixing the scarcity problem? Or is it just cleaning up the lottery so it's more efficient, but maybe just as tough to win? The cap hasn't changed, right?
That's a really important point, and the answer is kind of both. It does tackle the abuse, which helps the system's integrity. But no, it doesn't create more visas. The cap is the cap. However, this AI piece ties directly into the second major change. They've refined the salary-based selection model.
Tell us more about that, because before it felt like it just favored the absolute highest salary, right? Which sometimes meant maybe less innovative roles got picked just because of pay. How's that different now?
Precisely. That older model, well, it incentivized gaming the system with high salaries for maybe more generic roles. The 2025 system tries to counter that. It's aimed at finding employers genuinely looking for people who will create high-value IP.
So it's not just the dollar amount.
Not just. A high salary is still a big plus, definitely. But the system now gives extra weight, a sort of bonus, to applications that have both high pay and are in specific emerging tech sectors.
Okay, which sectors are we talking about? Because that really changes the game for anyone thinking about specializing or applying.
Yeah, it does. We're talking obviously AI and machine learning engineering. That's a huge priority. But also critical infrastructure fields. Think green energy innovation and advanced cybersecurity solutions. These really reflect immediate national priorities, economic and security-wise.
So what does this mean, practically speaking, for someone maybe in a more traditional IT role, like database admin or maintaining older systems?
It means, honestly, tougher competition in the lottery pool. They aren't shut out, not at all. But an applicant specializing in, say, AI model development now enters that selection process with a kind of built-in advantage. So for anyone prepping their skills, focusing on these emerging areas is pretty essential now for boosting H-1B chances.
Okay, so despite these new hurdles, this sophisticated AI lottery, people are still putting massive energy into chasing the H-1B. The risk is clear, the uncertainty is still there. So why? What's the pull that keeps drawing top talent?
Well, the simple truth is the U.S. is still the center of gravity for global tech. That fundamental status hasn't really evaporated. Getting an H-1B still opens doors to projects that are, defining the future. World-class stuff. Plus, generally better salaries compared to many places, and just exposure to cutting-edge research you might not get elsewhere.
And it's more than just the paycheck, isn't it? For a lot of professionals, it's seen as this ultimate career booster.
Absolutely.
The chance to work with global teams, gain that international experience that adds so much credibility when they go back home or even if they stay.
Exactly right. That H-1B stamp signals a certain level of expertise and validation that's recognized globally. And to be fair, the 2025 rules did bring a really important improvement on flexibility.
Oh, what's that?
They've updated the rules to allow for more remote work flexibility. It acknowledges how we work now, post-pandemic.
Okay.
Visa holders can now work from multiple U.S. locations or have hybrid setups with, let's say, clearer guidelines and fewer hurdles than before. It was a real headache previously.
That remote flexibility point is huge. That's a massive quality of life improvement, especially if you have a partner who also works. Before, being tied to one office location made any life change a potential immigration nightmare.
Huge nightmare, yeah.
But, okay, we have to talk about the other side now. The downsides, the hurdles.
Okay.
If you talk to anyone in the system, the word you hear constantly is uncertainty.
Yeah, this is where reality bites. Even with the AI trying to clean things up, the uncertainty is still incredibly high.
So what are the odds, really?
A hard number shows selection rates are stubbornly hovering around, say, 25 to 30%.
Wow, so 3/4 or so are rejected.
Right. You could be the most qualified person, perfect fit, top company sponsor, and still get rejected just because of the lottery cap. Thousands and thousands of skilled people are turned away every single year.
And let's say you do get selected, you win the lottery. The challenges don't stop there, right? You're basically tied to that one employer. In tech, things move so fast. Startups pivot, companies get acquired. What does that tie actually mean for the professional?
It means a loss of freedom and, frankly, leverage. Being tied down means switching jobs, even for a much better opportunity or maybe to leave a bad work situation, is risky and slow.
Right, the transfer process.
Exactly.
Ugh.
You need complex transfer paperwork, which has its own delays, its own costs.
Yeah.
Economically, it really limits your ability to negotiate salary bumps. If another company wants you, you can't just easily say, match this or I walk. Because the immigration risk and hassle often outweighs the potential raise. It creates a big power imbalance.
Roughly suppresses wages, you'd think.
It can, yeah. And zooming out even further, there's the really painful issue. The green card delays.
The backlog.
The backlog it's probably the biggest failure point of the whole system right now. For applicants from certain countries, especially India and China, the wait isn't just years, it's often decades.
Decades. It's hard to even comprehend planning your life around that.
It's become a generational issue,
Yeah.
literally. There's this running joke in the tech world, which is actually just sad and true, that H1B holders apply for their green card and their kids will be adults, maybe even starting their own careers and visa processes, before the parent's application is approved.
Wow.
That kind of delay just casts this huge shadow over everything. People put their lives, their financial planning, everything on hold indefinitely.
Okay, so this brings us to a really interesting point, the global competition. Because of all these issues, the low odds, being tied to an employer, these insane backlogs, the H-1B isn't the only game in town anymore, is it?
Not at all. Other countries are definitely noticing.
They see an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Major developed nations see the frustration built into the U.S. system. They know the U.S. picks 30%, roughly, and leaves the other 70% wanting. So these other countries are actively trying to attract that 70% by offering faster, simpler, more welcoming visa options, specifically for tech talent.
Can you give us some examples? Which countries are really stepping up?
Sure. Canada's tech talent strategy is a big one. They offer much faster processing times for tech workers. Germany's Skilled Immigration Act is another. It simplifies the requirements and cuts way down on the red tape.
And are people actually choosing these options over the U.S.?
Yes, we're seeing that. Professionals are explicitly choosing Canada, Germany, other places, and often the reason they give is simple. Less bureaucracy and a clear, predictable path to eventually getting permanent residency.
Which the U.S. system often lacks.
Exactly. It suggests that even the U.S. reforms, like the AI system, were partly a defensive move because they had to respond to this growing global competition for talent.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. If you're listening to this, maybe thinking about your career path for 2026 or later, what's the main takeaway? What's the practical advice here?
I think the number one piece of advice is simple but really vital. Don't put all your eggs in the H-1B basket. Don't make it your only plan.
Diversify your options.
Precisely. The odds are just too low. And the alternatives in other countries, which might offer stability much faster, are too good to just ignore. You really need a multi-pronged approach.
So what does a globally competitive portfolio look like now? It sounds like just having an engineering degree isn't quite enough, especially with the AI favoring specific skills.
Yeah, it's about building value that works anywhere. Focus on mastering those in-demand emerging skills, AI, green energy tech, advanced cybersecurity.
The ones getting priority weighting.
Exactly. Publish projects if you can. Show your work. And seriously, consider remote-first jobs. The job market is way more global now. If you can land a job with a U.S. company but live somewhere with a smoother immigration path, That solves the relocation problem entirely.
That's a great point. And even if you do go for the H1B, it sounds like getting the details right is more critical than ever. You mentioned SOC codes earlier. Why are those so important now?
Oh, absolutely. Staying on top of the policy details is crucial. In 2025, small things like your exact job title, using the right SOC code, that standard occupational classification code, matter more in this AI-driven lottery.
What is that code exactly?
It's the government's way of standardizing job definitions. USCIS uses it to check that your job title actually matches your duties. Any mismatch, any perceived inaccuracy could get your application flagged or rejected fast. Precision is absolutely key now.
Got it. So where does this leave us? The H-1B, it's still powerful, still highly desirable, holds this unique global status.
Yes, it does. But I think the big picture takeaway is that opportunities for top tech talent are definitely spreading out. They're becoming more global. The
Right.
demand worldwide is just too high for that talent to stay locked in one place anymore.
So ultimately, for the skilled professional listening, maybe it's less about chasing one specific country, like the US, and more about chasing growth. Your skills, your specialization, that's what matters most. Whether you use them in California or Toronto or Berlin or back home in Bengaluru.
That's exactly it. A truly strong, globally relevant portfolio will find a pathway. The skills travel.
Okay. And that leaves us with maybe one final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If other developed countries keep making their immigration systems smoother, faster, less bureaucratic, especially for permanent residency, how long can the U.S. hold on to its perceived global tech hub dominance, regardless of how fancy its AI gets?
That's the big question, isn't it?
The choice for skilled talent is getting wider every year. Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.